Hey guys, so I'll try to keep on making one of these videos per day like I used to. This campaign is an AI outreach podcast campaign. I first uploaded a list of founders, a pretty broad list of Apollo. I went on Persona and I use an API actor to script their website. The why is that it's free. It's not really free, right? Because I still need to pay API. I probably, yeah, I think it's like 1 cent or 10 cents per credits. I'd have to check, but here I scraped in total probably like a 3K website. This one that you see here is filtered. It's only 855 contacts. It's the ones that had a podcast because I'll do another campaigns with the ones that didn't had podcast. But bottom line, I scraped their website to get information about if they have a podcast or not, right? So this is a new way to find out if they have a podcast because you can do it with keywords on their LinkedIn, for example. You can get them from podcastdb.io, but here I scraped their website and I was looking for the podcast keyword, right? So with the API actor, I scraped their website. Here's the result. It's like unstructured data, right? Then you ask GPT if they have a podcast, yes or no, with all that data. And then if they have a podcast, you make a filter. So I filtered all the folks that were yes, because there's a bunch of no's, folks that didn't have a podcast. And from there, you prompt GPT to, with all of that data, like mention what their podcast about. Your podcast about comedy advertising, its impact on brand recognition. So let's go see this guy. So let's go see this home party land. Da, da, da. Yeah. So that's they're like about underwears and humors and all that. So that's good. So you take this line here, you export this full CSV, you import it in Apollo because that's what I'm using to send for the better and worse. And I created a campaign. So like you import the CSV, right? You is the usual stuff. You go in contacts and you add a custom field because Apollo won't recognize it otherwise in their email. My custom field is senior podcast about. So I went in contacts here and I added this custom field, seen your podcast, right? So you create a field, you add the multi-line text, senior podcast, blah, blah, blah. You put 1,500 and you save. You do that because you're going to create a campaign mentioning what their podcast is about, senior podcast about, and Apollo won't recognize that other than if you build a custom tag. So it says, first name, senior podcast is about. I wondered if you need help getting more guest sponsors and AdSense checks with a podcast agency like mine. So I didn't mention money because that's going to get us in the spam. Can I send you my Scale Your Podcast? I'll mention like Scale Your AI Podcast in 2025 book. I'll mention like Kindle book. On the house, I don't want to mention free. That will also get me in the spam. And email looks like this. So let's see here. Connie, senior podcast about luxury goods and socially responsible fashion. I wondered if you need help getting more guest sponsors and ads and checks with a podcast agency. Can I send you my Scale Your AI podcast in 25 Kindle book on the house? And then I sign Charles Cormier, CEO Podcasters List. I used to have podcasterslist.com, but that's a link and that would get me in the spam. So as you can see, I mean, this is like very close to an ideal email, right? It's really short. There's no links. There's no spam keywords. So I've been rewriting my emails and modifying my copywriting style to unfortunately fit Google and Outlook's deliverability and spam filters. It's working. So my deliverability and open rates are back on track. I think it's like 35% now, and I expect it to be at 50. if not 60% in a couple of weeks. So yeah, what do you guys think about that campaign? Do you need the prompts in here? Scraping websites is quite cool. I haven't made the best out of it, except for my clients that are agencies that are like CRO agencies and SEO agencies and so forth, but I'm making something out of it. And yeah, in the next videos, I'll try to scrape more info. For example, if I can scrape like their information, I can send an agent to look for their podcast, for example, and I can summarize these podcasts. I had a podcast scraper. I might use that to invite them to my podcast. So stay tuned for the next video, and let me know in the comments what you want to get in the next videos.